Welcome back. We are going to wrap up the Meteor65 that I've been working on for the past day, and where we left off, we got everything wired up to the best of our ability, but we haven't checked anything. So that's what we're going to do next. And we're going to do a couple of checks here just to make sure before we plug anything into it that we don't have anything bridged. That's like rule number one, is don't bridge your pads or else you're going to end up blowing something. Never fails. Alright, so might as well check the flight controller first, or I'm sorry, I say the flight controller. I actually mean the FrSky XM receiver, and all we're doing is touching, hear that noise? That's what we want to avoid. And when we hear that, we know that we have a bridged pad. And all we're doing is checking to see that our signal wire and our 5-volt line are not bridged, and our 5-volt line and our ground are not bridged. Good. Now moving on to our flight controller. The flight controller here has a number of connections. We have the signal wire coming out, the 5-volt, and the ground. Let's just verify that we don't have anything bridging the signal wire to the pad next to it, because if you recall, when I was soldering it up, that was one of the areas that I'd kind of goofed on, and if we get a continuity check between these two, we know we have a problem. And right now we got nothing. Yep. So that's good. Now we're going to check the one next to that to make sure, and that one checks out, and then we'll just go right on down the line to make sure none of these pads are touching, even the ones we didn't touch, even the ones we didn't ever solder to. I'm checking. Alright, now we're checking against the ground here, nothing, and against this 5-volt, and the 5-volt against the ground, and everything looks really good on that end of the board, so I think we're pretty safe. The next ones we're going to check are this 5-volt and the ground next to it, and they're both still isolated. The 5-volt and the signal, or the video out, and the video out and the video in. Everything looks really good. The final check we can do here is to make sure that we didn't bridge the positive and the negative right here at this connector. Okay, because if we've done that, we've hosed this board. As soon as we plug it in, it's going to get hot. It's going to be a bad day. Let's put it that way. All right, everything looks like it's going to work. Now, this is a smoke stopper, and it's meant for XT30 connections, but I've put little adapters on here so that I can connect up a micro battery. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug this guy in to there, and what we want to see on this is a green light. So we're going to plug in and we're going to see a green light. That's what we want. And let's see here. Yeah. Just a real quick one. And we've got green on the board, and we should have a green light or red light on our FrSky, and we do. Excellent. Now we are going to unplug real quick, turn off all of our equipment. We are going to disconnect here, put this guy away. We shouldn't need it again because we're looking pretty good, and we need to set up our XT60. Now we're going to create a new model. For this, I create new models. Now, not everyone does this, but I prefer. And we're going to create a model, and then it is a multi, and I just page through these until I get to the end because I don't care. And long press to confirm. Yep, and exit. We don't need to back it up. And then that's our selected model, and we will page. And here we'll do the We'll just call this the Meteor, Meteor. And yes, I know that's not how you spell meteor, but alright, and now we'll come down, and since we're using the free sky, all this should just be just about ready to work. So we've got the mode set as D16, channel, band, RX number 16, and that should, we want to set these to pulses. No pulses is what your failsafe should be on this guy. And we are going to, when we connect this up, we're going to hold down the bind button on this guy, and we're going to put this into binding mode. After we do that, we might need to move this away from the receiver. It can cause issues being this close, but we'll see. It may or may not need to be that way. Alright, good. Now, hold down the bind button, and this is the trickiest part of doing this. Okay, now I gotta plug this in while holding it down, and we should be in bind mode. Okay, and okay, we've got a flashing red light. Alright, let's try it again. Plug it back in. Oh, we are bound. So once it starts flashing red, that means it's bound. It's not obvious what's going on there. But the green light does mean it's bound, so we are good to go on this. That means that we should have signal between here and the flight controller. Flight controller should be able to see what we're doing, and in fact, we should be able to get a good picture off of this guy. And if we fire up our watch here, we should be able to search. And get a good signal. Oh, where are we? Oh, there we go. So, it's already got the name of it, the arm time, what mode it's in, the voltage of this guy here, the RSSI signal, which we haven't set up or anything. So we are looking pretty good so far. I think we're ready to hook this up or install it in our quad. So that is going to be that. Oh shit, that was bad. Okay, here's what happened just now. I pulled out this pin from this connector. That happens if it's not installed all the way, or if the little catch has been bent down, and it kind of looks like the little catch is okay on this. That's alright, so maybe we'll just reinstall it. What do you say? And push down. Yeah, see, it wants to come right out. Hammer down on that plastic bit. Okay, and one last time, just pushing down on the plastic here, and hopefully, you dirty whore, look at you. We're going to turn off our display. We are going to find our knife, pry that up just a little bit, and reinsert this gently. Okay. Alright. I think that's okay. So we want to run this right down through here, I think. Yep. Okay, can we get to that? We can get to that. So that looks pretty good. And we'll put this one in place. And this one in place. Okay. All right, looking good. Now, let's get a screw or two into this. And all of these screws kind of look the same. And I'm guessing that what we want to do is come down through this guy. Yeah. Okay. So I have these little elastic bands, and these work great because they're designed a little bit for high temperature or higher temperatures. So they hold up a bit better. And I think if I do it like this, there, that should hold it in the unit. Power down my Tyrannus here so it's not running down the battery uselessly. So to quit buzzing. Oh. Okay. All right. We have, okay, this guy, that's on there pretty good. Now, here I'm going to run these wires back like this. And just stick it right like that. Yep, that's how I'm going to do it. So, drag this guy over like so. And then what we'll do is we'll come up through here, like this. Pull it down, under. Oh. Yep. Oh, come on. I think that's got it. I think that's going to do it. I do believe that we now have a working, or nearly so, quadcopter. And I might need to go up under somehow to get a little bit more up tilt, or not. We can just play it by ear. That's a pretty level up tilt if you look at that. Alright. Good. Okay, now let's get our connections in. And we'll have to see if we need to reverse these with BL Heli, or if... Okay, I see. There's one. And two, and come on. All right. 3, and 4. Come on, man. Okay. Now, we'll route these as far inside as we kind of can, and tuck them up in. We should go hook this up to Betaflight, and then I will toss one of these on the charger, and we should be able to take this guy flying as soon as we get Betaflight configured. Alright, we've got the Meteor65 here on the bench again. We've just finished setting it up in Betaflight. I've put an additional strap on it to attempt to pull it back just a little bit, give us a little bit more angle on it. Hopefully you can see that well enough. I'd say it's probably, 20 degrees or something close to that. I think this is actually what comes on it by default, the Meteor65. So I think we're going to try these, see if we can get them to work for us, and make sure that we've got the right version. Those two are the same, and this one is the same, and the same. That would be messed up if they were all the exact same, wouldn't it? Alright. That looks right. Alright, so now we've got those guys, or this, yep, yeah, that's right. These little itty bitty props. And we are going to, we want props out up front. So that's going to be this way. And I'm just doing my best not to damage anything by pushing these props on. And then the opposite corner we might as well do. And then this one, make sure we've got this right. Yep, looks right. And this one. Alright, we're going the right direction, yes. Yes. So, let's see what our scale says. Yeah, we've got, I'm going to say it's 28 or 29 grams. 22. That's really not that bad. I was expecting it to be just a little bit heavier, but it's coming in right on the money, same as the Meteor65. So, and I think the Meteor might actually run the 802s. So let's see, what do we got with a 300? This is just a regular 300 high voltage, and we're at 30 grams all up weight there with that guy. And we could trim a little bit out of this by shortening up this cable here. And there we go. We had flight. All right, well, you saw it hover here first, and now I'll take it and fly it around the basement for a little bit, and come back and give you a rundown. I gotta say, wow. I mean, I got this little micro to fly. I've been zipping around my basement now for 10 or 15 minutes. I ran through 4 300 packs on it, and I can't get rid of the smile on my face. It really is a breakthrough, what they've managed to do to get the performance down, or the size, the weight, and the performance on this thing. It's just unbelievable. I mean, if you know, for what it's, you know, $100 worth of parts, but man, it flies amazing. I mean, like I said, I just ripped around the basement here, and I mean, it's just been non-stop. I didn't stop at all for this. I just, and you're hearing me on my terrible thing. I just thought I'd get my astonishment with this on camera, because it was so good. I mean, it really was. You'll see the flight footage in just a couple minutes, or maybe I'm playing it now. I don't know. When I edit this together, I'll see what I've got. But I mean, unbelievable. That's the word of the day on this little guy. The performance, the handling, just everything, really. It went together. It was super simple to put together. Even with these little 603 motors that everyone said, oh, you'll want 802s, but they're working fine for me. These props, these 1219s, working great. I gotta say, there isn't anything I want to change about this, which is kind of like a first for me. And at 22 grams dry, 30 grams with one of these 300 packs, it'd be probably a little lighter with like a 220 or 280. But man, just a really great flyer. I didn't even put Jesk on these, right? I didn't futz with anything. This is even, I didn't even reflash this board. I took Beta FPV's 410 on it. I don't know what they did to it, but man, this thing just flies. And you know, despite everything, despite the goofy way I mounted the receiver and even my little plasticky straps to hold everything in, I'm blown away, just blown away by this. So I strongly encourage you to invest in a Meteor65 or a Mobula 6, one of those two, because they are, I mean, this thing was just, there's a little rocket around here, and if you tapped it into something, wasn't any big deal. Most of the time it landed like this on the floor, you know. And one time I had it upside down and I turtled out. No issues. I got 2.5 minutes of flight time per packet. 2.5 out of 300. And I don't know that you'd get much better with a Jesk on it, maybe another 30 seconds or so, but flying it around here, it felt plenty long enough. I brought it in, changed it out. You'll see the very last crash, I had this, remember our positive wire came loose again, so, but it just, yeah, unbelievable, and I can't say enough good things about it. It's just a little riot. So if you get the chance, definitely get one. Good stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching.